Hello, my Zentangle friends. This is Barbara Langston, CZT. I'm a Certified Zentangle Teacher, and welcome to another session of Not Perfect Zen. I hope you're doing well. I always like to remind you this is my contact information. Someone recently asked me how they could send a photo of their work to me. And if you're not on social media, please send it to my email address, and it's notperfectzen@gmail.com. Okay? Reminders, no mistakes, and we are going to draw until we're happy. Today we'll be using a Zentangle 3.5 inch tile. I'm using a Micron PN, a Zentangle pencil, which is just a number 2 pencil without an eraser, and a blending tool known as a tortillion. Okay. As I was going through some of my older tiles recently, I came across some with Ratoon. And I first want to say that this is not going to be hard, okay? I have worked this so that you'll be able to do it. Okay, it's a beautiful pattern, and I love playing with it. I've drawn it so many times recently, just playing with it. Here's a couple more that I've done, and we're going to do it like this today, but just on a white tile. Okay, and the patterns that we'll be using are, of course, Ratoon, and I found 2 patterns by Barbara Duel Johnson that I'm putting here in between these little spokes. But to me, this looks like a flower. So I'm including this in my floral patterns. And like I said, just hang with me. It looks complicated, but it's not. I love this pattern. Okay, and if you don't have the kind of supplies that I have, you can use anything that you want, okay? It doesn't have to be a Zentangle tile, and it doesn't have to be Micron PNs, okay? So let's move these aside. I do want to tell you, though, if you want to do it on a Zendala, I would recommend getting the Marcus operandus, and I do have a video that tells you how to use this, but I use it to set my points for these, okay? And again, you don't have to do it on a Zendala. Here's this one. Might be able to see it a little bit better, because this one actually has double. It has Ratoon in the center, and then extra little spikes. I don't know what to call it. So here I lined these up with this. But I'm going to show you how to line it up and get your square ready for this. All right, so let's zoom in. And as far as our steps, gratitude and appreciation, I know I say this every time, but I'm just so grateful for Zentangle in my life and that I'm able to share it. So grateful for the comments that I get, because you make me feel so good about my videos and my channel, and I appreciate that so much. We will not be doing corner dots, and this one we won't have a border. Okay, I guess you could call this kind of our string, what I'm going to do next. And I've shown this a few times, and what I'm going to do is find the center of my tile, and I do that by just a very soft line. Okay, I'm not going to do it hard. Straight across the center, corner to corner. You don't have to go all the way. Okay, I just did it toward the center. I'm going to do the same thing in this direction. I do better if I just kind of pull it toward me. So see, I just lined up those two corners. And then I'm gonna go from the center here, straight down. I encourage you to look at the step outs, and there will be a link in the description below the video. And they don't do this, but I like to do it because it helps me to set it up the way that I like it, okay? This is your art, so what if you do it the way that you like it, okay? So, now that we have that, we are going to step 5, which is our tangle. And I'm going to go ahead and do this with a pencil first, just because I'm picky. And it's kind of hard to get a decent orb. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So I'm just putting, I would guess that's a little bit bigger than a nickel, smaller than a quarter. And now I have my Micron PN, and I'm going to go ahead and make a circle. It's not a perfect circle because we don't do perfect. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is these center little points. And I'm going to put them halfway between these two lines, okay? This just, I have found, helps me to line this up so that it looks pretty every time. So I'm going to do one there, do one down here. So this is kind of a little rice shape. And again, halfway between. If you follow these steps, you're going to have a beautiful ratoon. So just go slow and don't overthink it, okay? So these little rice shapes. When this first came out in 2019, I believe it was 2019, excuse me, it was released at a Zen Again conference, I guess, Zen Again event. And I kept seeing it on the Facebook and things like that. And I actually deconstructed it myself before it was released. That's how much I like it. Anyway, okay, so now we have these, and we could go ahead and fill them in, but we can wait. So now I'm going to come up on this line that we drew, and we can make this same shape, but I'm going to make kind of a teardrop shape. Okay, so we're going to try to come up. I don't know if I can give you an idea of how wide that is. Okay, wider than the base of my thumb. But we're going to try to come up about the same on each one of these. On that line that's halfway between these, a little teardrop. And I try to get them about the same distance, but they're not going to be. They're not going to be perfect, and that's okay. All right, so this is where we take a deep breath and just follow what I'm doing. We're going to go from the bottom of this tier, and it's going to come to this side of this little rice shape. So, okay, and we're going to do that all the way around. And I'm going to try to make my lines there about the same distance apart on all of these. Remember to turn your tile. I opened up a new packet for my Micron pen. It's so nice to have a pen that's drawing smoothly. I tend to use them until they're about dead, and then that's kind of frustrating. Okay, so now we've connected from the bottom of that to each side of this. And now what we're going to do is aura this, and it's going to come down to this point. So just watch for a second. I'm going to come around and aura and stop at the end of that right shape. Okay, so I'm trying to make these all about the same width. They're not usually, but I do try. Okay, come around to the tip there. Okay. I do believe this was designed by Molly Hollibaugh. It's Maria's daughter. I have also seen where people have done different shapes out here at the end. One of the prettiest I saw was a heart shape. Okay, one more to go. Okay, so what we're going to do now is where this comes around, it's going to go behind. See, it goes behind here. And then it's going to go behind that one also. So it's going to go behind, go behind. So just watch first. This bottom part is going to line up to that. So I'm going to go under. And it's going to line up there. Then this one will come around, go under, and then it comes down here. Okay? So once you can kind of see that in your mind, then it gets easier. So this bottom goes to there. And then this one is going to go under and around. And once you've done this a couple of times, it gets much easier, especially if you're looking at the step outs. Okay, again, this outside goes to that. Just keep turning your tile. Breathe. Relax your shoulders. Have fun. Okay, one to go. All right, so that is the basic pattern for betweed. Not betweed, I'm sorry. Ratoon. I had betweed. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking that. This is betweed in that one, and then this as well. Okay. I am going to use my kneaded eraser to erase my guidelines. Okay. And then I like how this one looked. This was a practice tile. I was practicing what could I put on the outside, but I like these orbs on the inside. So we're just going to go around. Again, this is optional. This one I just almost looks like little squares there. And then this one just lines around. This is your art. So do it the way you like it. And then where there's a little bit of white left, I'm filling that in. Okay, so there's that. And then what I did on the inside of this one was I was playing around. Do I want 3 petals or 4 petals? So you can kind of look at what I did there. I used a purple pastel chalk pencil to shade this. I think I like the 4, so let's go with that. Well, actually, it's not very big. But it's okay, we can do this. So what I did was I brought a line down the center, and then halfway down, I brought another line down, and another. And then we just round this. Okay. And fill it in. Okay, and then we can do just a little bit of a line up the center. And on these, you can fill them in, or you can make it look like it's kind of got a highlight here, like that. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and fill them in, so I'm just showing you that you have that option. And we're going to fill this in at the top. Again, optional. Okay, so we did a line down the center, and then 2 lines to divide this. And then we just add some rounding. And then 1 little line up the center, if you want. And then I'm going to fill that one in. So this is Easter weekend, but all of my grandkids are older, so they don't think they're going to be doing Easter eggs. I read a funny joke that said, at my age, my memory is so bad that I can hide my own Easter eggs. And I won't remember where they're at. My kids are all grown and the grandkids are big, but I just remember putting Easter eggs out so many times. The kids would find them and then, do it again, Mom. So we would have to hide them again. But it was fun. Yeah, this is definitely easier with a new pen. Okay. And this is very repetitive. I don't speed up my videos, but you are welcome to change the speed, speed it up, slow it down, fast forward, whatever works best for you. I skipped one. Yeah, this might have done better with just 3, but it's okay. 3 petals in here instead of 4. Because this one, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Okay. This is the one I'm thinking of. See, this only has 6, where we have 8. So that gives you a lot more room in here. Practice this a couple of times and then do it the way that you like it the best. And I've seen lots of different patterns inside this part, or you can just leave it open. Just leave it blank. Draw until you're happy. Okay, I didn't fill these in. Cool. I have so many of these tiles with Ratoon on them. I mean, if you have a pattern that you like, practice it in your sketchbook or just plain paper. All right, we're almost there. We are still having gorgeous weather so far in Houston area. I'm still planting things, enjoying the flowers. I'm not the best gardener, but I do enjoy the flowers while they're looking good. All right. So there, you could stop at this point. What I did was I picked a couple of patterns that I thought might fit well in these. And with Pennie, all we do is there's like printemps. Okay. And then she puts these 2 petals on the bottom. And then a leaf on each side. And a leaf up here in the center. And then she puts the little folds, a little fold on each of these. Okay, so that's one that you see right here. And then this one is, okay, so this one is Pennie. I like how she names them. And then this one is Kelli. And it starts like this. And then it has a little V. And then petal. Another petal. And then 2 petals up here at the top. Okay, and that's what I did here. And if you look, this little V, I put those V's on one side, and then on the other side I put it right where this is. Okay, so either I put a V or I didn't. And I couldn't decide which way I liked it the best, but I think I'm going to do it just right onto this. Okay, so we'll start with Pennie. And so we're just going to draw a printemps. It's going to touch, come around and close. And then we're not going to worry about these bottom petals, okay? We're just going to do these top ones. So we're going to come up, do a petal, come around here, do a petal. And then do one here on top. Okay? And we're going to do that in every other one. And then we'll do that other pattern. So, printemps. Come around and have it touch. And I'll close it. Put a petal here. Petal here. And then a petal in between. And then one here. And that'll really make a difference when we do the shading. Shading is always the icing on the cake. Okay, a leaf. All right, so that's, okay, one more. And this, I know a few of you are going to put beautiful colors on this. I can hardly wait to see it. Okay, and you could fill this in at the bottom. Not sure that I want to do that though. Let's see. Actually, I did on that one. Okay, let's do that. Let's just go ahead and fill this below our little printemps, because it's kind of just floating there otherwise. Okay, just a little bit. All right, so now we're going to do this one. And it is going to start with the petal in the center. Okay, and then we have a petal on each side. And then another petal coming up on each side. Okay, and then we're going to put in thatching right down here at the base of each of them. I think that looks really cool. And that is part of her pattern. Okay, so we have a petal in the center, our little petals on each side, and another little petal on each side here. Please notice mine is not perfect, and that's perfectly fine. When I finish and I go back and I look closer at my art, I do my best to not worry about any oops that might be in there, because it doesn't matter. All right, pretty cool. I hope you enjoy this. I hope that this helps you to like this pattern. It looks really difficult, but it's not. All right, there you go. So next is shading, the icing on the cake. And of course, I'm going to find all kinds of spots where I didn't fill that in, but it's okay. All right, I am going to start by just putting kind of a connection between these orbs. Just a little bit of a line along the inside. Fill in those spots. Okay, and we are going to do a gemstone. So you can see one here. Looks like a happy face. I've done one here. I've done one here. And just do it with graphite. And it's easy. I've shown this many times. Okay, I'm going to admit I have this thing where if I know on the back where the top of the card is, then I just like to know where the top of the card is. It's goofy. Okay, I am going to put like a half moon, crescent moon? Yeah, crescent moon of graphite. Kind of heavy up here. Okay, and then just a little bit all the way along the edge. So this is like a gemstone inside a cabochon. And now we're going to take our tortillion, our blending tool, and I'm just going to go in circles on this and pull it down very softly. Okay, I'm easing up a little bit harder, pushing back here, and ease up a lot coming down, and just barely touching along here. Okay, practice these on another sheet of paper if you need to. They're so simple. We're just going to leave a little highlight down here and the dark edges. And there you go, you've got a gemstone. Isn't that cool? My favorite way to do it. All right, I'm going to come along the outside of these orbs that we did, our circle, along the outside of our gemstone, and just add some graphite all the way around. Okay, and then I'm just going to soften that, pull it up in the center. Okay, so I'm just softening it at the bottom of each of these, and then I'm kind of pulling it up and where these petals are. All right, isn't that cool? I'm going to go ahead and put some, just a little bit of graphite at the top of these petals. And I've shown this before, but on the back of any scrap piece, make like a puddle of graphite. And then I'm just going to get a little bit on my tortillion and just add a little bit of shading at the top of each petal, because I don't want to put a harsh line. Okay, just makes it look like these are bending a little bit. And like I say, you don't need much. And you can watch what I'm doing and decide if you want to do that or not. All right, so now I am going to put graphite on the outside of the little printout. And of course, you're welcome to put anything in there that you would like. My favorite thing is henna drum. I could do that every time and not be tired of it. Okay, so we're just going to soften that. And I'm going to do the same thing, put a little bit of graphite on the tips of these leaves. Okay, so basically I'm going to do the same thing on these. I'm going to put at the bottom of each petal a little bit of graphite. Remember to breathe. Relax your shoulders and draw until you're happy. Okay. Now just soften these. These little leaves are a little bit shorter, but I'm going to put a little bit of graphite on the tips where I can. Isn't that pretty? I just love it when you put the shading on. All right, we got it. So there you go. Ratoon with Kelli and Pennie. All right. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to initial and sign. And I always encourage you on the back, put the pattern names, sign it, date it, and if you want to, put a little bit of information about what was going on that day, okay? And then, this is very important, appreciate again, appreciate what you've done, okay? And on this one, I hope you don't overthink it. You just have fun with it. I want to show you one more that I did. This is on a coaster, just a simple cork coaster. So I did colors in that. That's for my daughter. I still have to, I don't have to, I'm going to do more of those. All right. So, again, this is some ideas of what you can do. This is just within a drum. And this one with the ones that we just did. And then this one with betweed and well, and then just orbs on the outside. And it's a double ratoon. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please hit the like button. Subscribe. Come back again more than anything. And as you're doing your drawing, I want you to remember to celebrate progress, okay? We're not looking for perfection here. We're looking for progress. All right, thank you so much, my friends. Come back again. I'll see you next time. Bye.